stop because this project is just, we have a deadline to make, and the guys who are delivering us the survey information did everything all wrong. So at the last minute, we're waiting and we're all rushing. But that's the way it goes sometimes. And much like you guys have to get your project done, I've got to get mine done, and it's going to require a little extra time. But we do what we need to do. All right, so now we are going to go over the earthworks operation. And I am going to start that from the beginning. And what I'll try to do actually is I will try to use the NCS template that you guys are using. Is that what you guys are mostly using, the NCS template? Or are you guys using my files? I'm not sure. Someone say something? Hello, hello. Okay, you guys are going to have to respond in the chat because, again, I have half of everyone is muted. Only one person is unmuted at a time. Okay, yeah, all right, so you guys are using the NCS. All right, so let's see if I can use that and successfully create that document. And what about that? NCS Imperial. Now, so again, we could do the same things and bring in the same information. So I'm starting the project again. And because I'm doing earthworks, I also need to bring in the 2 surfaces, the 10 surfaces. And I have them set up in my data shortcuts. And I can bring in the EG, and I need the 2. I can't bring in the merged. Keep in mind, this EG, FG merged is only going to print on one plan of yours, and that is the residential grading plan. This will be the existing condition, the gray contours on your residential grading plan. Every other plan, that's existing and that's proposed. Eventually, I will have in here a residential grading surface. And your residential plan, that's existing, and the residential grading is proposed. So we're going to bring this in, and we use the background style, print out gray. I double click my middle mouse button and it zooms extents. It shows all the other information. And then we bring in the FG. And we don't want that as background, that is back design. Where did that, there we go. That is design. And there we see our 2 surfaces and our existing conditions. I still need a few more references to complete the picture. And here I am ready to perform any of my engineering tasks for this project. All right. So again, I quickly freeze some layers I don't need. Just so I can. Quite honestly, I really don't even need those. And I start looking around. in my surfaces. And what I also need to bring in, not my surfaces, but my toolbar, I need to bring in the alignments that I have, because I need alignments to put sample lines on. So, and I can create these together actually. They will both get the same, where's that dialog? Oh, there should be a dialogue, or they're not coming in. They should be coming in together, but they don't appear to have, so they are here. All right, so I bought my, oh, these are the existing alignments. I don't have my proposed alignments, and I need my proposed alignments. Oh, here we go. These are the ones we want to bring in. These should have been center line. They are not. Create reference, and there are my alignments. I don't need the PC labels in this. I can get rid of them. I just want to keep this map as clean as I need. All right, because this is all set. We have an alignment. I needed to also make an additional alignment through my basin if I wanted to, in fact, incorporate that volume. And I'm going to regen to see if I missed this. All right, so there, that's pretty good. I can go alignment, create from object, and I'm going to reverse that direction. And I'm just going to call this alignment basin, center line, and I can put major and minor only. We don't need to add curves, and we can erase the existing, and there's that alignment. So we have our alignment, our alignments, we have our two surfaces, and we can now make section or sample. I create sample line group. I'm going to have to do this on each alignment. I tell it what surface I want it to sample, and I am not sure why I have two here. One of them is probably in a reference, but I only need two of them. And I'm going to use these two, existing, proposed. And my sample line toolbar appears. And you can go around and click points on screen, but there are easier ways. You can also select existing polylines if you had them drawn. You can pick points at on screen, or my favorite, by range of station. And we went through this. We set them up for a 50-foot, I think I had 60-foot width. We did them along our road at every 50 feet. And it drew sample lines. And these sample lines are much like your alignment shows you where the profile is running. These sample lines just show you where we're cutting cross sections. We could repeat that again, that process for this alignment and that alignment. Again, by range. I don't think I need 60 foot width on these guys, but I'll leave it anyway, 50 foot. I said in the basin, you might want to do them a little closer. And there we go. I have crossing break lines. I said that was never, or crossing sample lines. Told you that was never really a good idea. You could either drag them in or just shift them over to another spot. One or the other will work. Just include that area and those distances. All right, once you have your sample lines, I told you that the big key to doing these calculations is in your sample line group property. You can get that either in your ribbon up here or by right-clicking sample line group property. And in here we see, again, a lot of information for those sample lines, including all those sample lines. I told you that you could very easily expand the widths and watch these two down here. Let's go 100. And I hit apply and they got wider down there. You can see the different sources that surfaces and corridors and stuff that you sample. You can set up section views once you have them and change different labels and styles on them. But your material list is what is going to compute the average end area. And that's the calculation that we are using to compute how much dirt we are moving for this project. I told you if you go to the import criteria, they have one called cut and fill. Do not use, oh, look at this, there's earthworks in there. Cut and fill is probably good enough. And this dialog comes up where you define the two surfaces that you need to. Hold on, my computer's freezing for a second. Hope it's not WebEx that's freezing. That scared you. I just opened up the task manager. It's just. All right, I'll restart the meeting. I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm not going to wait for this. Control delete. I will see you in 2 minutes. on, sorry for the technical difficulty. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good, excellent, excellent. All right. All right, so let's get back to it. I had to crash AutoCAD. Did I tell you guys the super secret recovery method if you crash?
Joy recovery?
All right, so if you crash Civil 3D or AutoCAD, there's a chance you may be able to get an autosave file and not lose all of your work. And if you just go to Windows Explorer and type %, TEMP, temporary, %, you go to your Windows temporary folder. And why am I not sharing that? Hang on. Let me share screen one for now. All right. So if you go to any Windows Explorer and type %TEMP, and hit enter, it brings you to your Windows temporary. If you're lucky, and I am not, you would find a file with a extension SV $, and you would be able to rename that DWG and get some of your work back. I was not so lucky. So, file new, and I am going to rush through that last sample, get us back on track. And I need to see our chat window. All right, so I know I've got to get to the earthwork tables coming up as 0, and then showing the 2 profiles. If there are any other questions, please put them up in chat. We have a new one, and this one is blank. All right, so X attach. And we're going to bring in, I'm not going to bring in everything. I'm just going to bring in the stuff that I need. See how fast I can get these numbers out. Zoom extents, there's that. I'm going to bring in those surfaces again that I need. EG, create reference. And it is using the background type, that's good. FG, create reference. There we go. Design, okay. And I needed my alignments, and I'm just going to do this main alignment. I'm not going to go through the other 2 just yet. And the sample lines we need to get after the alignment. And we got a dialogue. I only want the 2, and then we have finish going there. Okay. And our toolbar appears by range of stations. We went every 50 feet, and I wanted to put one at the end. True. Hit OK. And there they are. And then we went to our sample line group properties. And I told you to go to your material list. and we import a criteria. Cut fill, we hit OK, and we don't crash this time. We get our compute materials. And this is just really asking you to set a base surface and another one to compare it. And in this case, our EG is, of course, EG. And the one we're going to compare it to is FG. We hit OK. And our material list is there. It has a couple of styles. And we hit OK. And we don't see anything because I did not yet create cross-section. I can take that one sample line, section views, create multiple views, and I can walk through the wizard. I told you guys to use the draft settings because I don't know if it will bring them in. You can try, actually, I would try bringing them in. 40 scale plot might look good. Yeah, it's not finding. If you find your sheets in here, by all means use them. Autodesk, sheet sets, civil, imperial. I think I want plan production. Yeah, this is what I want. Plan, profile, imperial cross section. And there we go, 40 scale, okay. Next, we go through your elevation range. I'm just gonna hit create section views. And your section views are lined up in sheets. Again, I don't need you to print out, 4 sheets when I finish up these other 2 alignments of cross sections. I want you to find a handful that look like typical sections and put them on a sheet with the table. Now let's look at your table. This was the big one. Select a sample line and I click my add tables. Again, this is the contextual ribbon. It's lit up. It's got the sample. There's a sample line is selected. And we go total volume. That's the table you want. Don't use the materials. It's asking you for a table style. It has a cut fill style. It asks you for the alignment. Make sure you have the correct alignment selected and the correct sample line group. I only made one sample line group. But if you went through this process a number of times, maybe you have a number of them. Maybe you should choose, sample line group number 5 instead of number 1. If that was the last one for you. I don't like to split the tables. I want one table. And I click. And my numbers. So if you're not getting the numbers, you've either A, erased your alignment, or you, watch this. Another way to get rid of those labels or those numbers. If I go back to those sample line group properties, and I say, you know what, I think I did this wrong, and I delete it, and I bring in another one, I've lost the link to that table. And you're going to see that my numbers are not going to reappear because it's not the same material list. So if this is what you're seeing, maybe you just need to recreate the table. And again, at tables, total volume, cut fill, and you should have your numbers. All right. Your tables, I think they normally come. You can edit your table styles, change colors, layers, whatever you want, and you can set different fonts for the title, the headers, and data, different heights and stuff like that. But Does that answer the sample line and zero question? Zero numbers. Again, it's either two things. It's either when you created your table, one of two possibilities. When you create your table, you're either not choosing the correct alignment or the correct sample line group. And if it's not that, you may have not accidentally, you may have thought that you could just recompute those materials and the table would update, when in fact, if you delete these materials, either here or here, those tables will go to zero. So, okay, so that got you that question. Now, the other question is, with profiles, making sure you show two separate conditions. And again, it's just like your plan view where I told you we want to see the existing contours underneath the proposed contours. We also want to see, when we do profiles, existing and proposed conditions in both the same tool. I'm going to select that alignment and I'm going to create surface profile. Okay. I have in here those two surfaces. I referenced them in. You need two surfaces in your drawing. You want to see two surface profiles. I'm going to change this one to be finished ground or design profile. And this one is existing ground profile. I hit the drawn profile view, the create profile view, and I should have two profiles, right? This does not have labels on it because it is a surface profile. What you should really be doing is in your source drawing where you defined your roadway grading and your road profiles, you should be sharing that finished ground profile you made. It's a design profile. Then you can create a shortcut to it. And if you bring that in and use your label set, you then get all the information you're required for your plan. That is your vertical curve length, your high points, and that information. All right, so it looks like it came in on both of them. So I don't need this profile. I still have that one. I somehow have two sets of labels. But these labels could be dragged down. And brought into view. And that's how I get two different profiles. I have a bad scale on here, 40 scale region. These are just, I don't like these styles. They're dashed, but they're really, really tight. How would I change that if I didn't like how that looked? I would edit the style. And it's a Civil 3D object. And I don't know, they're using the line type of the road, but I might just change all those lines to be and they're still not showing right. I'm still at 40 scale. But that's how it should work. I wonder if I print better. Or I could just, again, edit that style use a different scale on it too. We went dashed. Maybe we want a 9 type scale of 5. Now it's showing this. So, did I answer the profile question? Who had that?
That was me. But when I was trying to do it, it was on the, like when you make the alignment from the sanitary sewer.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's much different of a process.
No, it should not be. Again, as long as you have 2 surfaces and the sanitary sewer is over both of them, you should see it. But I can go into my, I'm going to save this. My project engineering, sections in earthwork, NCS. And I will open up my utility file. All right, so I am here in my utility file. And again, if I need to see existing and proposed conditions separately, I need to have a surface for each one. Right? If I make a profile with this, it's all going to show combined as one. And, you know, for your design check,